Feds have finally nailed down a deal with the nation's 5 largest mortgage processors, leaving them on the hook to cough up a cool, you ready for this, $25 billion as punishment for alleged robo-signing of foreclosure documents. Government officials are telling the press that they hope the settlement will serve as punishment for the banks and resurrect some of the nation's hardest-hit neighborhoods. We'll see. Here now to discuss are my freedom fighters, Fox Business senior correspondent and my colleague Dunstan Pryal, Lynn Paramore, alternate senior editor, and Nicole Neily from the Independent Women's Forum, where she is the senior fellow. What the heck kind of sense does this make, Dunstan?
Judge, we were laughing. We could do the whole show on this.
Right. It's absurdity.
It is. And where do you begin? Do you begin?
Right, give me the short answer.
Well, yes, it's crazy. It's almost surreal. You start with the idea is robo-signing, was it a $26 billion scandal, or was it an unfortunate fallout from the bursting of the housing bubble 4 years ago? Then you get to the $26 billion. It's a great headline figure. It doesn't really help that many people. You're talking about $2,000 checks to a large number of people and maybe $20,000 in reducing of people's mortgages.
Okay, so robo-signing occurs where people forget to sign enough copies of their documents. They did buy the house, they did borrow the money, they did agree to pay it back, and they did stop paying it back. But the copy of the documents that the bank has doesn't have their signature on it. The signature exists somewhere. Is it that bad that the banks stamped original signed? That's what these stamps said. It wasn't a forgery. It was a stamp saying the original is signed.
Well, I think that's a problem.
$25 billion?
I think that's a problem. But the loans that were made to people under false pretenses has also been a problem.
But that's not what this is about.
I know, and it's what it should be about. And frankly, I think there were some cases in which you could argue that forgery occurred. And I know if I forge a check, I'm going to jail, you know, to pay my rent. I'm not going to get off scot-free. I think there's a lot of get-out-of-jail-free cards going on
here. So, Nicole Neily, isn't this going to encourage more of the same reckless behavior for people who will say, well, Barack Obama might not be the president, but whoever is the president will bail me out, just like they bailed me out when my house went underwater this time?
Yes, 2 words for this situation: moral hazard. We are basically telling people that if they're irresponsible, we'll fix it. Uncle Sam will step in and he'll solve their problems. Meanwhile, what we're doing is we're actually penalizing future borrowers, because who will end up paying for this? The banks will have less capital. They'll actually have less money to lend to borrowers who actually are responsible. So this is generally a redistribution scheme from future borrowers to existing borrowers.
Dunstan, why do the banks cave? Why didn't these 5 banks say to the feds, see you in court? You prove to a jury that this robo-signing was worth $25 billion. Why did they give in?
There's a couple of reasons. One of the reasons they gave in is because they've got this huge inventory of foreclosed homes sitting in their backlog. They need to get this settled so they can get those foreclosed homes, get the matter closed, and get those out on the market. Another reason is I feel they wanted to get rid of it to sort of cover up the fact that there were some serious crimes that occurred 5 years before. They were happy to settle $25 billion on this rather than be accountable for some of the shenanigans that went on 10 years ago.
And so the day after the banks coughed up the $25 billion, what happens? The same federal government to whom they coughed up the $25 billion says, we're going to sue you again because you sold mortgage-backed securities without telling people what their true value was. Shouldn't they have gone after all the banks at once? They might not have coughed up the $25 billion had they known a second lawsuit was coming.
Yeah, I think this settlement is bad on so many different levels, and I think that people should be going to jail. I mean, I think that this is a slap on the wrist to the banks. I don't think it's that much money. People comparing it to the tobacco settlement, but that was $250 billion over 25 years.
All right. Switching gears. Thank you. All of the major stock indices have been on a tear so far this year, with the Dow, the NASDAQ, and S&P 500 all up over 5% since January 1st. Gold is up 11% to date. Fears are rippling along Wall Street this week that the rush into stocks is nothing more than investor desperation to make a buck in a low-yield environment centrally planned by everyone's favorite central planner, Uncle Ben. Ben Bernanke, that is. In a classic case of unintended consequences, could Mr. Bernanke's pledge to keep interest rates at near zero through 2014 actually bring on a massive market correction? Even if he was going to do this, even if you believe in the Fed, even if you think he should have the power to do it, why would he say so far in advance interest rates are never going to change?
A pledge is a strong word. It's not really a pledge, it's a forecast. And he made clear in his last press conference a week or two ago that we are forecasting that given the circumstances circumstances of our economy right now, we will need to keep interest rates at this rate until 2014. He said straight up, if we need to raise them before then, we will.
Can market forces, Nicole, possibly be tamed by central bankers? Haven't we learned the lesson that that simply cannot happen?
Obviously, we have not learned the lesson. This is just another example of imperial hubris. This is people who think they're the masters of the universe outsmarting the market. Unfortunately, it's like squeezing a balloon. They're just, you know, we're going to figure out a way around it. So it's not surprising, but it's unfortunate.
Do you like this?
Look, the great Milton Friedman was very concerned that the Fed
Lynn
did not...
Paramore is quoting Milton Friedman. It's like me quoting Saul Alinsky.
He realized that the Fed didn't act quickly enough in the Great Depression to, you know, ease money into the system.
Right,
and so Ben Bernanke learned that lesson, and that's why he's doing this.
And what good has come from Ben Bernanke adding trillions into the marketplace?
Well, one could argue that it prevented us from going into a Great Depression. Now, I believe that in addition to monetary policy, we have serious problems with our fiscal policy, and the central bank can't do everything.
And those banks that caved to the Feds yesterday, they love this stuff because that cash flows through them.
Well, I mean, you're capitalists, the people you're concerned about. As we sit, there are trillions of dollars sitting on the sideline. Anyone who's afraid that there's going to be a major correction, that Europe is going to go under, I'm not so concerned about that. There is trillions of dollars sitting on the sideline. That's going to keep stock markets moving along at a rather healthy pace for the foreseeable future.
Will this madness never end, Nicole, Neily, no matter who's president, unless it's Ron Paul?
Ron Paul or Gary Johnson, I think they're the ones who will actually take a step back and say, we can't do this. We need to let the market start signaling itself without us intervening.
We only have 20 seconds. I want to see how far I can push you. Should we audit the Fed? Should we know truly what Uncle Ben is doing, or should we let him do whatever he wants and let the cash pop up wherever it pops up?
Yes, while we do need a central bank, and for the earthquake in Japan proved that, their central bank eased money into the system, prevented a run on the banks. But yes, the way our Fed is run, we need to audit it. It needs to be restructured. Absolutely, there has to be accountability.
So when liberals, Democrats, conservative Republicans, progressives, and libertarians agree, why isn't it audited? You don't have to answer that. Nicole, Neily, Dunstan, Pryle, Lynn Paramore, it's a pleasure, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Who is winning the battle for the heart and soul of the Republican Party? You know that battle's going on. It's here, and it's next.